Welcome to the Connected Spirit Podcast. This is a space for mediums and light workers ready to step into their power, serve spirit, and make a real impact. I'm Courtney Dawson, an international medium and spiritual business coach, sharing my journey from playing small, hiding my spiritual gifts, to growing a successful, ethical, heart-centered business that uplifts others. We're diving into the highs and lows and the real struggles, the doubts, the fears, and those overwhelming moments. This isn't just about tips and tricks. It's about the deep, transformative journey of becoming an ethical medium and truly embracing your spiritual gifts. If you're ready to break free and create a life and business that lights you up, you're in the right place. Let's dive into this week's episode. Hey, love, welcome back to the Connected Spirit Podcast. I'm your host, Courtney Dawson, and I'm really glad you're here today because we're going to dive into something, let's be real, isn't talked enough about in our world as mediums, and that's grief. And I know you're probably thinking, but I talk to spirits all the time. I know my loved ones are around me. Yes, absolutely, they are. I get that. But here's the thing, grief is tricky. It doesn't just go away because we're connected to the other side and the holidays. Well, they bring a whole other layer to that. So today I want to talk with you about how you can navigate your own grief during the holiday season, because I think it's really important that we allow ourselves this space to process our own feelings, especially as we support others through theirs. And you deserve to honor your feelings. And I promise you, by doing that, you're actually showing up both stronger for yourself and your clients. So let's just start with grief. Grief is part of being human. It's not just something we experience when we lose someone physically, but it's something that we carry, and it can be really heavy. Especially as a medium, you might be feeling that grief and not even realizing it there, right? And I want to remind you that as a medium, just because we can connect to the world of spirit doesn't mean we're immune to grief. We don't get a bypass ticket that says, no, you don't have to experience all this. Like, if anything, even from my own experience as my dad passed October 27th of this year, I think if anything, I feel the grief more because I'm so connected to my feelings. I'm so in tune that it's so amplified, right? And I know it can feel like we should be okay because we know our loved ones are still around with us, but grief doesn't work like that. Grief is messy and personal and complicated, and sometimes it just comes up when you least expect it, especially around the holidays. I get it. Those memories, the empty chair at the table, the things you wish you could say to someone who's no longer there. It hits hard. It hits differently at this time of year, doesn't it? And you need to give yourself that space to feel. I'm talking really feel it, because the more that we suppress it or we just try to push through it, the harder it becomes for us to show up for others and honestly for ourselves. Okay, so how do we actually support ourselves through this? Because let's be real, it's one thing to talk about it, but it's another to actually know how to do it. So I've actually come up with some tips here that I've written down that I'm actually following this year during the holidays because it's my first Christmas without my dad. And I really want you to think about them or at least try them on for size, okay? So let me ask you this. How often do you actually honor your emotions? Like fully and completely. We're so used to just brushing them off or thinking we should be stronger. But grief isn't about strength. I think we need to reframe how we look at it because it's actually about feeling. Right? If you need to cry, then cry. If you need to get mad, then get mad. And if you need to laugh at a stupid holiday movie, just do it, okay? Because the more you honor those feelings, the easier it is to release them. And that's what you want. That's what you need. You're not meant to carry that around all season. And another biggie is having a place where you can just be, whether that's a quiet corner in your house, maybe going for a walk in nature, or just curling up with a cup of tea. Create some space for you to feel and actually tune into your emotions. And please don't rush it. Don't think, well, I'm going to give myself 5 or 10 minutes and just feel the feels and then I'll be done. Like, no, that doesn't it doesn't work that way, you guys, okay? You're not just a medium. You're actually a person who needs healing too. And let yourself just be in that space, okay? Next, number 3, I know this might feel uncomfortable, but I promise you it's one of the most powerful things you can do. Talk to someone who gets it. Like maybe that's a fellow medium, a friend, a mentor, or even a therapist. Get those feelings out. Sometimes just saying it out loud, I miss them, or this time of year is really fucking hard for me. I don't know how to get through this, can actually create so much relief for you. And I really want you to remember that you're not weak for feeling it, love. You're human, and you don't have to go through this alone. Number 4, so important. Boundaries, 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 boundaries. Do you know how much freedom comes from saying, no, I'm not going to that event, or I need a day to myself? You know, I had taken some time off, and we'll see how I feel closer to the holidays. I might take some more time off during the holidays and just reschedule my clients, because it's huge to say, I need this time for me. I need this time to feel and go through my grief, especially during the holidays when we are expected to give. But you know what? You can't pour from an empty cup. And I know you've heard this before, but this could never be more true than when you're going through grief. I know you know this, but sometimes it's actually hard to do it, right? So take the time for you. It's not selfish. It's absolutely necessary. And number 5, finally, let's talk about compassion. This is so important, you guys. Be gentle with yourself. Grief isn't something that can be fixed or rushed, and it comes in waves, and sometimes you'll feel like you're handling it well, and then other times you won't. And that's okay. You're doing the best you can. Please don't judge yourself. You're not failing. You're just living through it. And sometimes that's enough. That's it. That's all you have to do. Okay, but here's something else to keep in mind. When we don't process our own grief, it can actually spill over into our own work as psychic mediums. If we're carrying that unprocessed grief with us, it can make it hard, like super hard, to hold space for our clients in the way that we need to, because our grief is interfering with our ability to blend with the spirit world clearly and strongly in the way that we should, and also being able to hold space for our clients as they move through their grief. Think about it. Just think about it for a second. When you're clear, when you've taken the time to process your feelings, you're able to show up with more clarity and peace for your clients. So you're able to hold space for them in a way that's really grounded and calm. It's going to allow you to move into the power, to be able to stay in that power, sustain the link with the spirit world, and channel clearly without any of your emotions filtering what the spirit world's trying to communicate through you. But when you're holding on to that unresolved grief, it's harder to be present in the same way. It just is. And the truth is, when you take care of your own heart, you're able to hold space for others from a place of love and peace. And that's when the magic happens, you guys, for you, for your clients. So I just wanted to remind you, love, it's okay to grieve. It's okay to feel all of the feels. And in fact, it's essential that you do. It's absolutely 100% necessary for you to do that. By honoring your own grief, you're not only healing yourself, but you're also giving yourself really the ability to show up for your clients with more peace, joy, and authenticity. So this holiday season, just take the time you need. Be gentle with yourself, and remember, you're not alone. We're all in this together. And I hope this episode gave you some comfort and permission to honor your own grief. And if you love this episode, share it with someone who might need to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It means so much and helps so many people find our space. Take care of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Until then, stay connected to your own spirit. Thank you for tuning into The Connected Spirit. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps others find this podcast and join our growing community of ethical spiritual entrepreneurs. Stay connected with me on social media. My handles are in the show notes, and visit my website at mediumcourtneydawson.com for more resources to support your journey as an ethical psychic medium. Remember, you have the power to create a deeply fulfilling spiritual business as an ethical medium. Until next time, keep embracing your spiritual gifts and making the impact you were born to make. See you in the next episode.